Hi, my loves. So for today's video, I actually want to talk about self-worth. And this is in response to something that's going on in my life with someone that I love very dearly that is going through a situation that really stirred me up. And what I realized is that in many ways, I haven't been opening up about my own story enough to kind of empower the people in my life to know that like you have other options. So to give you some backstory here, I used to be married back when I was like 21 years old. I met this man. We moved pretty fast. I feel like within the year after meeting, we were married. And then back in 2016, that marriage ended. Now, that relationship, I don't typically open up a lot about, but there was a lot that happened in those 5.5 years in that relationship, right? This person, although he meant well, we just attracted each other based on trauma. And the thing about trauma bonds is that we believe that's as good as it's gonna get. And to give you some context, at 21 years old, I mean, what did I know, right? I literally moved from Georgia to Texas on a whim, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Texas and find myself. And you know, at 21, you think you're grown, but I definitely had no idea what I was getting into, right? I had had other relationships before that, but again, I come from a background of trauma, sexual abuse, but at this point in my life, no one knew, right? I'm just kind of living my life, running away. And 3 days after I moved to Texas, I met this person. So like I said, we moved pretty fast because what happens when somebody has the foundation of trauma is we tend to latch onto people. For me, it was my partner at the time, and we moved very, very quickly. He was a little bit older than me, like about 7 years or so, and I just latched on. He was my person, and there were red flags from the very beginning. Not to be too blunt, but you know, there were babies with other women. There was like things that he would say that were red flags from the beginning, but I didn't trust myself. At the time, my self-worth was so low that I was like, look, he loves me, he's here, it's worth the shot. At one point, we ended up living together, and I left him because he had told me he was divorced and divorce papers came in the mail, and he had just had a baby with someone that he was dating before me. Very, very messy, very, very toxic, but I left, right? Then I moved to Georgia, and shortly after, about 3 months, I don't know how to this day, he convinced me to take him back, right? Because at the time I hadn't opened up about everything I had lived up until that point. I just kept bottling it up. I was like, man, I love this guy. And at this point in my life, he proposed. And I'm like, wow, 21, this is the first guy that asked. He obviously loves me. He drove across the country. He's here for me. Now in hindsight, talk about love bombing, talk about trying to control a situation, but I'm not a therapist, so I'm not gonna diagnose, but I agreed. And we got married, moved back to Texas. You know, I got a job, a career, made friends. All of these things happened in between, but that relationship in itself was very toxic. Not only was it founded on the fact that I wanted someone to complete me, I wanted someone to save me, it was also, I had no idea who I was. I didn't see myself. So in this dynamic, I dimmed my light a lot. I took a back seat a lot. There were things I wanted to say, and I would bite my tongue in front of people. And I even had a mutual friend tell me, you hide your light when you're with him. And I go back to this time in my life, mind you, my early 20s, in the prime of my life, and I couldn't tell you who I was or what I liked or what goals I had. At the time, I'm like, I'm a wife, I'm gonna have babies, we wanna travel the world, but I was married to myself. We were not in agreement. And a lot of times, and this is where I wanna speak with this person in my heart, but really from a place of vulnerability, a lot of times you don't even realize you're not happy until you look outside of yourself. And what I mean by this is, when I was home, yeah, it was great. He was a great partner, but there were so many things that I knew in my soul that I was not happy with. Like how his sense of humor went from, oh my God, he's hilarious, to, wait a minute, he's making fun of me. Or his being available to everybody meant that he was available to everyone but me. Or his charismatic personality turning into, he's never home. He knows all these people, he's cheating, he's doing all these things, right? And all of the things that I used to love turned into things that I was resentful for. Not only that, but this is a big one for women, including myself, I surrendered control of finances. We had a joint account. I surrendered control of knowing, because in my home where I grew up is the man is the one who runs the house, right? He manages the bills and the money and the structure. And although that is great with the right man, I was not with the right man. So fast forward a couple of years, I was fired from my job, 26 years old, and I thought I had savings. Turns out I didn't. There was no money. For him, he was spending it on his boat, on his sunglasses, on collections and stuff that literally doesn't matter. But there is zero judgment from me. It's just the awareness of I worked so hard, so hard during that time of my life, trying to hold something together, trying to keep someone with me, trying to make things work. And that looked like money, me overworking, me paying for his children with the baby mamas, him working part-time at one point and me working full-time, holidays, weekends. I did everything. I did my best, right? But I don't open up about that enough because there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of shame because I know that I settled. There's a lot of shame because 21, 26-year-old me didn't know better. And I always say I became the person I needed, but that version of me is the one that I abandoned. So to see that version of me reflected in someone else brought up a visceral response. And instead of talking to her, instead of saying something, I was just like, no, if she wants the help, she'll come seek it out. Mind you, I'm a coach, right? But no. I feel like if women knew that there were options, if they saw themselves, if they had any idea of their value, they would not settle for less than they deserve. They would not settle for a man who, again, in my case, didn't really want to be seen with me because he had things going on outside of me. And to see the wife was like, oh crap, I can't keep the lie up. A woman would never surrender her finances, even if it's your husband, and I'm talking from experience, because if you don't know what's going on with your money, who does, right? Especially if there's children involved. Like, you have to think of your babies, you have to think of your home. And when you're in a relationship with someone, especially long-term, anything above 3 years, you almost get brainwashed into an us. And the idea of us is so crippling for women because we have bonded so deeply that we forget to think of ourselves as a human being. We think of ourselves as an afterthought, not a human being. And what comes with that is a lot of settling, a lot of sacrificing, a lot of holding back, a lot of, men, I feel really strongly about this, but I'm not going to say it because it's not what's best for us. I found myself supporting a grown man, paying his bills, taking care of his children, taking care of the house, taking care of his boat, and going on vacations he wanted to go on, and living a life that I used to cry myself to sleep and be like, how did I get here? And the thing is that there are women right now, especially this woman that's in my heart right now, that there is time. There's always time. And if you just did the work to find the worth within yourself, to love yourself, especially if there was any kind of sexual trauma, to just really sit with yourself and be like, man, I am codependent. I am trying to make a person my everything. I'm willing to sacrifice my youth, my body, my joy, my money, my time, my everything to be them. I will tell you how you know if the relationship that you're in is not great for you. If all of your time is spent with your person and you don't have a life outside of them, that can be a red flag. If all of your money is tied with this person, that can be a red flag. If you are paying most of the bills for a grown man, that can be a bit of a red flag. And I'm not saying don't make concessions, because in partnership, obviously you do what you can, right? You obviously go in and you're like, we're together in this, but as a woman, it's not okay. And I wish somebody sat with me in my 20s and had an honest conversation with me and just told me, like, Jordy, you deserve so much more. If someone told me, Jordy, in the future, you're going to see this so differently. You're going to realize that you sacrificed, that you settled, that you should have said no, that making fun of you was not okay, that you sacrificing your weekends to be home was not okay, that you giving up so much of yourself for another person is not okay. I wonder if things would have been different. And that is what's compelling me in this moment to make this video, is that I don't know if there's a version of me out there that needs to hear this. And I want to speak directly to you. as if I were talking to myself. Baby, you deserve better. You are so beautiful inside and out, and you deserve love. You deserve a partner. You deserve somebody who goes to bat for you the way you do for them. You deserve somebody who chooses you. You deserve somebody who wants to be with you, who wants to show you off and drive your car with you and spend their time with you and build a family and a home with you. If they're not giving you any indication of having the same goals, having the same core values, having the same dreams, why are you trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole? It's not going to happen. And unfortunately for a lot of women like myself, we learned the hard way. Because you could tell me about fire or I could touch it. For me, I married it. And in hindsight, I see all the red flags and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have saved me so much time, but maybe this is working for you. And if it's not and it pisses you off, I'm glad. You're welcome. Because that's what I would have needed back in the day, to be like, wait a minute, is the reality that I've created for myself real or not? Because on the other side of divorce, I remember my mom asking me, okay, Jordy, you're free. What do you want to do with your life? And I just said, I don't know. Okay, Jordy, what do you like? I don't know. Okay, Jordy, what would you like to do after this? I don't know. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea what I liked, what I wanted, where I was going. Don't get me wrong, I had hobbies. I had friends. I attended church. I used to be a part of all of these things, but I had no idea who I was, the real me. Not the me that was pretending to be the perfect girlfriend, the perfect wife to keep a man with me. Not the one that sacrificed all of her free time to keep a man with me. Not the me that worked weekends and holidays to make more money so that he could buy more sunglasses. Not the one that took care of 2 dogs so that he didn't have to do anything. Like, I gave up so much of myself. And instead of resenting myself for that, I want to save you time. Where are you sacrificing? Where are you compromising? Where are you settling? Where are you looking at yourself as an afterthought and not as the priority? Now, if in your situation there are babies, again, it's a little bit different because you obviously have to think of the well-being of the child, but what about you? You have a whole life ahead of you. And I guarantee you, when you do the work to love and find yourself and really connect with your essence, oh my goodness, the things that will come into your life, honey, the things that will change within you, because when you change, everything changes. And I mean, the people I've attracted into my life right now, I mean, they don't even exist in the world I used to live in. My life was work, home, work. It was literally leaving work, coming home, cooking dinner, being available, staying up late, watching crime shows and all of this stuff. And I'm not attacking or knocking on younger Jordy who didn't know better. I just want to give her a hug. I just want to say, baby, get out. Like, I could have been traveling. I could have been finding out who I was. I could have been healing. I could have been building a business. I could have been, I don't even know. But what I was doing was settling for someone who didn't deserve me, because I grew up in a home where settling was normal. I grew up in a situation where I believed I come last. I sacrifice for the people I love. I sacrifice for my family. Why is that the case? At what point in your story are you going to decide you no longer have to sacrifice? Now, for me, being a middle child, Dominican, all of this stuff, there is no blame on my parents. It's just the awareness of, wow, there was so much that I didn't know. But I guarantee you, for you, my love, there's a lot of things that you still don't know. And you might think love is somebody saying, okay, I'll be home with you. It's not enough. Love is a feeling, is an action, it's a presence. You know when somebody loves you because you feel taken care of. They don't make fun of you. They don't pick you apart. They want to spend time with you. They plan their lives around yours. You're not an afterthought. You're not something they come back to. And again, I don't know why I feel compelled to be so honest and blunt. I might not even post this video, but everything in me is saying, I can't keep this to myself. There is somebody out there who's in a situation that they don't know how to get out of. And I'll tell you, there is a way out. Now, again, I'm not a therapist, but if you find yourself in a dangerous situation or with a narcissistic partner, then that's different. There are hotlines and stuff that you can call, but don't stay quiet. Don't keep it to yourself. I will tell you this, if your family or your close friends don't know what's going on at home, that's a problem. Because if you're having to hide, and if you're having to lie, and if you're having to pretend and make it sound like, no, everything's great at home, it's not. I'm telling you because I've played the part of the good wife, the good daughter, the good sister. And when I finally opened up 5.5 years later, I remember telling my mom, I need help. We need marriage counseling. And she's like, where is he? And I just opened up about finances and the cheating and the home and the treatment and the words, because even derogatory words, or him not worrying about things like clothes. We had a 3-tier closet and I had this many clothes. Everything else was his. There are little things that are not so little, because a man who loves you worships you. A man who loves you puts you first. A man provides. A man takes care of you. A man creates a container where you get to feel safe and feminine and beautiful. I did not feel safe in my marriage a single day. I did not feel safe in that relationship at all, because hypothetically, him cheating, he wasn't protecting my body. Him having children with other women, he wasn't protecting my finances, right? Him being out all the time, he wasn't worried about my well-being. Me working weekends, holidays, any time off just to make more money for us, while he was at home watching football and feeding his friends and going on the boat. It was not my thing, right? But I couldn't see it. Other people clearly saw it, but I couldn't see it. And when I finally opened up about it and it hit me, the grief that comes out of realizing that you have probably not wasted, but that you have invested so much of your life into a person who gave so little, it humbles you. It humbles you and it changes you. But look at me, babe. Let me be your example that on the other side of this, there is hope, there is beauty, there is success. And right now I am single, yes, but my last relationship, you would be impressed at the quality of person that I'm attracting now. Now for me, I still got work to do. I'm not saying I'm married or have the babies or the white picket fence yet, and that's okay. Because if this is where God wants me right now, this is where I am. But I'm tired of sugarcoating parts of my story when I know that somebody needs to hear this message. When I know that for somebody, me not sharing is them settling. I've literally heard stories of people in my life who considered suicide instead of leaving a relationship. For me, the idea of a woman checking out because she feels not strong enough to walk away, because she feels like her life without this person would not have any meaning, that is why I show up. It's women, it's children, because at the end of the day, it is a child inside this woman that is broken. It is a child inside you that is broken. And inner child healing is just being willing to look. You see how my business name is Journey Through the Darkness? Honey, I've been there. I feel you. I know it feels like there's no way out, like there is no hope, like the money won't go far, but I guarantee you it can work and there is a way. And you might be surprised how far money can go when you're in control of it, when you know how much you make, when you manage it, when you actually educate yourself. But it demands a new version of you. And I know that is scary as hell, but it's time. It's time that you choose you. It's time that you do the work. And it's time that you say yes to yourself. Now, if you have children, even more so, because they're watching. You're setting the example for your daughters. You're setting the example for your sons. And this is where it might come across as harsh, but I'm just going to be honest. If I had had kids at the time and I looked at my little girl watching me bite my tongue, play small, not say what I felt, give all the money away, what kind of example would that have been for her? And then where would I have the room to be like, do better? You model that to your child. But again, I'm sitting in this place now and I'm speaking from my heart. There is no attacking, there is no ill intent. I just hope that whoever this message was for receives it. And if it was for you, my love, leave me a comment below. Send me a message. Let's connect. Open the door. Open the door to help, to the divine, to love, to just come in and fill you with so much love that you see a million possibilities. Because I know our brains will tell us there's only this or that. black or white, but there's a million ways that this could go. There are so many possibilities, and you're not alone. Being a woman, honey, I see you. I can relate. Divorce, not the first woman to happen to. A breakup, 10 years, 7 years, 5 years, 20 years. That's okay, but just choose you. Anyways, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. I feel like I've been going here for a minute, but whoever this message was for, I love you. Just know that you're not alone. And if it reached you or resonated for you, leave me a comment below so I can make more content. And if no one sees this, that's okay too. Literally, I just had it in my heart. I had to get it out, and now I feel lighter. So I love you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.